Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Brick Clubhouse. I am back here in the clubhouse as always with my co-host and super good friend Kimmy Jim. No, super good friend Chris. Hi Chris.
Hey, Evan. Good to talk to you tonight.
Good talking to you as well.
Thanks for taking over the introduction.
Of course.
My voice is still not doing so hot.
Yeah,
So,
but you are.
thank you. I tried my best.
I got you.
It's a lot of, eating the right things,
Sure.
working out.
Sure.
I mean, if I added up all the hours I spent in the gym.
Dude, body is a temple, man. Body's a temple.
Yes. So, I was talking to one of our other associates in the store. His name's Wesley, and he used to be in the Marines, and
Yeah.
we were talking about how you spend time when you're out on an aircraft carrier
Yep.
on deployment.
Yep.
And evidently you just spend a lot of time in the gym
That makes sense.
and doing nothing.
He said you do a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
His friend came in and Wesley goes, Evan was asking me what we did on the boat when we were deployed, and his friend just goes, lost our minds. Like,
If only they had Lego.
apparently don't do much, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
And,
only.
well, and they were like infantry class, so like they were just there in case a fight ever broke out or like we ever went to war. And so there's other people like on the boats that are doing other tasks, but they didn't have
Yeah,
to.
I have other friends that were pilots and
Yeah.
flew helicopters or jets, and I think they
Yeah.
probably had more going on than
Yep.
than Wesley and his crew.
Yep.
But this isn't the out on deployment podcast.
Yeah.
It is the Brick Clubhouse.
It is.
And it can all happen because of Bricks Minifigs, San Diego North,
The North one.
the North one.
As
Not
opposed
to be
to
confused with, it's the actually the only one in San Diego right now.
technically.
But I mean, we have others in the area, but
Sure.
San Diego proper,
Yeah, not the only one in San Diego County.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
But we can claim the only one with an address in the city of San Diego.
Mm.
But there could be others someday, so we'll be north. But yeah, they make all this happen. So
They
thank you.
do. We do. They do.
Yes,
Us do.
yes.
Us do.
Thank ourselves. But we also want to thank everyone that comes into the store
Yeah,
that makes it such a great place.
absolutely. And for those of you that do listen, go ahead and give us a rating wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple, Spotify, anywhere else they might listen to podcasts
Yeah.
that's not as popular as Apple or Spotify, but still exists. Go ahead and give us a rating.
Or if
We
you want to
really
rate the
appreciate it.
store on the old Google Maps, that's great too.
Yep.
So
Google ratings and reviews
it's
always
always
help.
fun to see those 5 stars come in wherever they are.
Yeah.
So, but we really do love the community
It's a good time.
that we have in the
Yeah,
store.
absolutely.
And this week we got to host the Sandlug, the San Diego Lego Users Group,
We did.
this last Saturday
They
night.
had their meeting at our store on Saturday night.
And it was more of a social time,
Yep.
but it was super fun.
It was a
such
good
a
time.
great group of people, and the store was packed out.
Yeah, just super nice people that love Lego, and that's what we like to. Well, we like to think that we're nice people. That's up
Yeah.
for you to decide, I guess. But we do love Lego. That can't be argued. So
But it's always good times to get
Good time.
together with other people that
Yeah.
share our love of Lego. And so,
for sure.
yeah, if you
And a good amount of people had never been there before, which was great. So they got to take a look at it and get to know the store for the first time, which always helps. So
Yeah.
it was good.
and if you're in San Diego and are interested in joining up with Sandlug and all their fun activities,
Which, by the way, is the San Diego Lego user group.
yes,
So for those of you that might not know, it's just they have this group in
It's
multiple
just a-
cities across the U.S. and it's just a place for adults to share their love of Lego.
yeah. I mean, Lego hosts, has groups all over the country, all over the world, and this is the San Diego chapter.
Yep.
And so you can look them up on Facebook. I think that's probably the best place to find them.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I'm not sure they're on Instagram, but I
Yeah.
definitely know they're on Facebook. So, yeah, look up Sandlug. They would love to have you. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
But tonight, I thought it would be fun to have a conversation, kind of mash up what's new in Lego and what's new in the store, kind of
kinda
into
hand-
one
yeah, they kinda go
conversation.
hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this week we saw the release of a brand new NASA set
Yeah.
from Lego. The
Under the Lego icon theme.
yeah, the
The
Artemis.
NASA Artemis Space Launch System. This is set number 10341 with 3,601 pieces. As I mentioned, this is part of the Lego Icons line of sets, and it continues the kind of unofficial sub theme of Lego, which is NASA licensed Lego sets.
Yeah, and continuing the year of space as well.
Yep.
We've got our second kind of large scale rocket that they've they've built. We'll talk about the other one later.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the Artemis launch system, or SLS, the Space Launch System, is the rocket that's designed to take us back to the moon. So this is what's going to carry astronauts, hopefully, back to the moon and maybe even Mars and other places
So this
in
is
the future.
this is one that's like currently hasn't really been used yet. It's like being built currently.
It has launched. They've done one launch
Oh, okay.
of this
Like a
rocket.
test launch.
Yes, that had the Artemis space capsule with some like dummy in the spacesuits to test the spacesuits.
Oh, okay.
But so astronauts have not gone up on this rocket yet. I believe that'll be part of the next test.
Gotcha.
And
And that's actually this is something good to highlight for this episode going forward. This topic is more of Chris's area of expertise. We have talked about different topics in the past that I might have some more insight and knowledge on, but this is really one of our episodes where Chris is gonna get to shine. So it's NASA and space is more of his
yeah,
jam.
this is like my Animal Crossing.
This is your Roman Empire.
Yes, will you get as excited about this as
I
I
mean,
did
don't get me
about Animal
wrong. I
Crossing?
think that space and NASA and stuff like that is really cool. My dad is super into space. He has a lot of astronomy books, and he has a telescope that he sets up in our backyard, and he'll call me out every once in a while when I'm home and show me some fun stuff. So my dad is the big space lover of the family, and so it has a special place in my heart as well. But it's not something that I am very familiar with overall, I guess.
I grew up a total space nerd. I will admit it. I'm the generation where we were we were watching the Space Shuttle Challenger launch in class when
Yeah.
it blew up. So
Whoa.
I've always had a fondness for space. I think
Yeah.
watching NASA fight back after that and get back into space with the space shuttle, it was just something I followed. I've always been interested in. And like in sixth grade, when we had to do a like science report, I did it on the Apollo space program. Like always been a bit of a space nerd. I've drug my family around to different museums and things around the country. First, we're going to talk about this SLS rocket,
And
which
I think it's interesting, just like sorry, just hearing your story about that because yeah, I think I grew up always living in a time where people had been to the moon. Like it's never it wasn't ever like a foreign concept or idea to me. Now you also were born after that happened as well,
correct.
but but still like there were still like new things, which I know there's new things happening now. I don't really keep much up to date with it, but yeah, I just imagine. I know that part of the awe for my dad is that he was born, I think the year that they went to the moon. Well, right around, yeah, 1963 was the year, right?
63 was when they went to into space. The first orbit was in
Wow.
maybe that was in 61. I don't know, but early space program.
Yeah. Anyways,
Um,
so he grew up, I think, in that kind of like space age, and yeah, I mean, it's just something that like it. I think I've just always been used to it and like almost taken it for granted. Like, yeah, people go up to space, and not ever fully like just allowed it to be like blow my mind because it's wild. It does. It blows your mind if you think about it.
yeah, and I was like formative age when the space shuttle first started, like launching, and I vividly remember watching like the first shuttle
Yeah.
launch on TV and being super impressed and just like
Yeah.
the space shuttle was everything. And yeah, and back in the early days of playing with Lego, me and my friends all tried to build space shuttles
Yeah.
because that was like the coolest thing ever to us. Which it's kind of sad that kids don't and not it seems like it's less of a wonder now. Like you said, going to space has kind of become routine.
Hmm.
I was even discussing with somebody today in the store about this Artemis set, and they asked like, "Oh, do you watch like all the SpaceX
Yeah.
rocket launches and stuff?" We're here in Southern California. Oftentimes, we can see the launches from Vandenberg,
Yep.
which is up the Central Coast, and it's always cool when we get to. But like, I used to watch all of them like on YouTube. SpaceX live streams them, and
Yeah.
I've kind of given up on it because it's become very routine. Like,
Which is
of
wild.
course, they're going to go up and they can land that rocket. It's amazing. But
Yeah.
generally now I wait for like the uh, the big launches, like when they tested SLS or Starship, when the next launch of that for SpaceX. I think their fourth launch is coming up soon.
Hmm.
But yeah, we kind of turned this into the NASA podcast.
Which I mean was the idea, and we did talk about not really having too much of a structure for it, just to allow us to do this and talk about it. And so, I do think that the idea of being able to build a Lego set of some of these real life things that have done these amazing, mind blowing things is
Well,
really cool.
and the interesting thing about this set that sets the SLS set apart from a lot of the sets that Lego has done in the past is this is a set about the future.
Yeah, the present and the future. Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is like we're going to take this rocket to the moon. It has the Orion capsule in it. The model is really cool because you have the central rocket plus
Yep.
the boosters on the side,
Yep.
much like the space shuttle had.
Hmm.
You know, the launch technology is a lot like the space shuttle with the central tank and then the solid boosters on the side. So for for those of you who haven't seen this model, it does include the launch tower, which
Yeah.
is great. The
He
first
built
time
the
we've
whole
got a
launch
launch
tower.
tower. And then it has the rocket that breaks up into its different stages.
Yeah.
So you've got the giant center stage with the solid boosters, and then the smaller stage that comes out and opens up, and you get the Orion capsule and the
So cool.
the solar panels that unfold. And in fact, it has a little stand. So if you just want to display the Orion capsule, you can have the whole rocket built on the launch pad and still have the Orion capsule like
That's cool.
separate little stand. So like maybe that will look really cool on your desk,
That's cool.
and you don't have to display, a whole
Yeah.
rocket that is.
It's also cool because the whole build it has the whole like base for the launch system too. So there's like a little like a little staircase that goes up and like a tiny little door that's just like a little like ingot piece. And so it really gives you a sense of the scale of this rocket and the whole launch system. And you got the little bridge that goes right to the place where like the astronauts can go in to the control center. And yeah, it's a really cool set.
Yeah, and all that like can come over to the rocket or swing away like it's getting ready to launch.
Yeah.
It's a really cool set. I'm really glad that they decided to go this route with it. It'll be super interesting to see where this rocket goes.
Hmm.
And a lot of people think SpaceX's designs are going to make more sense than this one, but I'm glad they did take a swing on this because the launch pad, like everything we've said, it's just a really good set. And just like the other sets NASA has done, they've just gone out of their way to get the details right,
Yep.
down to a lot of printed pieces. I do believe there are a number of stickers
There's a good amount of stickers on it,
that
but they provide some good
get
detail.
applied, but it's kind of a mix of printed pieces and stickers, which is good. And it's a fantastic looking set.
Yeah, it really is.
To put on your shelf, especially for those of you that are space fans or maybe want to teach your kids or other people in your life about how these rockets work. You can divide it up into the different sections and really show it off that way. I think it's a great model. If you're interested in seeing it, we do have it in the store, new in box, and I'm glad they're continuing their partnership with NASA, which has gone on for a number of years. And I thought it would be fun if we also took some time to look back at some of the other Lego NASA
Yeah,
partnership
let's do it.
sets that they did. I believe this may be Well, I guess there are a few others that are still current
Yeah.
that you can buy. The most recently, the Mars rover Technic set
Yep.
came out.
There's also the polybag.
Yes,
The
and they did a poly bag and
yeah.
the giant Technic. We do have the poly bag in the store, and we're sold out of the Technic rover. It was again a great model. They got the details. For those of you who aren't aware, this is the rover that's currently exploring Mars, and it's called the Perseverance, and it had a little helicopter drone ship that also was flying around. In fact, that drone just recently took its last flight, and they've
Huh.
retired it because it won't be able to fly anymore.
Hmm.
But it way outlived its predicted lifespan on
Yeah.
Mars, and I I think we should be doing more space exploration and exploring these planets. And this was a great model to celebrate that. It's got the drilling arm that comes out. It's got kind of its camera eye that can rise up and turn around. The model itself is designed so all the wheels and suspension are independent. So
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who know what these rovers look like, they're big, kind of the size of golf carts with six wheels.
They're that big.
Oh yeah,
Wow. I
yeah.
never knew that.
It's not a small little thing. Now some of the earlier rovers were much smaller,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the
Okay.
Perseverance is a pretty big boy.
Dang. We had this one used in the store for a while, built up on the case
Yes,
with the little drone. I played around with that one a little bit. It's a fun one. It's a cool one for
yeah.
sure.
It's got lots of little knobs to turn
And
things
for
and make things
two
move.
people that aren't the biggest Technic fans, that's a vehicle that like it makes a ton of sense they made a Technic.
It
Like that one fits for
because
sure.
it looks like it should.
Exactly.
Like this
Absolutely.
this Technic model. Like sometimes they do cars in Technic, and you're like, okay, I kind of
Like
see
when
it.
did the Robert Pattinson Batmobile a Technic, I was bummed. But this
Yeah,
this made sense.
but this looks like it should look. Like
Yeah.
this model should have been done in Technic, and just came out last year in 2023. A really great model of another classic NASA NASA ship. But actually, I dropped the term NASA into Bricklink, and we got a list of sets that came back. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe we could go through those sets kind of one by one and just
Sure.
briefly talk about them.
Yeah.
The first one that came up is the Lego's Idea set, the Women of NASA, set 21312. It consists of
Like
three little
like
builds.
vignette builds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that highlight some different women that have made different contributions
Yeah.
to NASA.
We got Sally Ride, Mae Jameson, Nancy Roman, and Margaret Hamilton.
Yeah, Sally Ride and Mae Jameson come with a space shuttle build.
Mhm.
Sally Ride was the first American woman in space,
Yeah.
U.S. woman in space on the space shuttle, and she was also one of my professors at UCSD.
No way.
So
You had a
yeah,
class with Sally
I
Ride?
took a couple classes from her. She taught astronomy.
That's so
So
cool.
yeah.
Did you ever meet her or like talk to her in person?
Oh
Because
yeah.
I know in those big lecture halls sometimes it's.
Oh no, she was great. Like you could go to office hours and talk to her about going up into
And you were just like,
space.
hey,
And
what was like being in space?
yeah, like
What was it like literally not being on planet Earth?
there was
Oh my
a
God.
few of us that some people like had no idea who she was, but there were a few of us that would go to office hours from time to time and just want to talk about the space shuttle. It was super fun.
That's amazing.
So yeah, little known facts about me. That one, I took astronomy classes
Yeah, sure.
in college
And two, that it was
just
taught
for
by
fun.
freaking Sally Ride.
Yeah. So she's part of that little build. And then next we also have Margaret Hamilton, who was one of the early scientists during early days of NASA and mathematician. And so there's a build honoring her, and another build with Nancy Roman and a little Hubble telescope, and just showing her contributions to that project and kind of deep space exploration through that. So that's kind of what that set's about. I do like the little builds that they have, little shuttle super fun. The Hubble telescope is super fun, and you get these great minifigures
Yeah.
that are unique, and you don't always get real people minifigures,
Yeah, that's true.
and so it's kind of fun that they did that honoring these women. That set's been retired for a while. Came out in 2027,
20,
and
2017.
oh, sorry, 2017. Yeah, I guess
It
2027
came out 3 years in the
come
future.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it was a small set, consisted of 215 parts, but did have the four minifigures. Be on the lookout for that one.
Yeah, that was before the Lego Ideas theme had sets with much higher piece counts. That was really earlier on in the Lego Ideas
Yeah.
theme when they really made just like the really small sets for the most part.
So,
Yeah.
but a fun little set. The next one is another Lego idea set, which is the Saturn V, another another NASA rocket.
And
Uh,
this is where I have to put my foot in my mouth because this came out the exact same year, and it is a large Lego Ideas set
it,
of 1969 pieces.
which is kind of a little Easter egg because that was the year we went to the moon
That's cool.
uh, aboard the Saturn V. And it doesn't have any minifigures with it, but is a full build of the Saturn V rocket, and it can break down into its different rocket stages. It also includes a few little mini builds, one of the lunar lander, and it's on a small little plate with some little micro astronauts that go with it. Plus, you also get a little mini build of the Apollo capsule as it splashed down in the ocean, which is how they recovered these capsules after they came back to Earth.
That's fun.
It also has some stands so you can display it either horizontally or vertically, depending on what kind of space you have. This is one set that I do have. I thoroughly enjoyed this build. I thought it was a lot of fun. It looks like it would be rather repetitive, but it uses some really cool build techniques on the interior to make the structure and then attach the panels to the outside. A lot of great printed tiles in this set for the different flags and markings that go on the rocket. And then when you break it into its different stages, you get, smaller engines, and it's just it was just a great, really well done build. And interestingly enough, it was so well done that they re-released it a few years later
They did.
for a second run. So you might find this as set number 21309 or maybe set number 92176. They're the same. They're the same build. I don't think they made any changes. They look the same. So whichever you get, you can build your own Saturn V rocket and imagine your own journey to the moon back in 1969. But they continue on. They For a while, Lego really had a thing for the Apollo missions and whole like trip to the moon because in 2019 they released set 10266, which is the Apollo 11 lunar lander.
Yeah, that's a
So
good one.
the Saturn V rocket has a little tiny lunar lander as part of the little micro build,
Right.
but this is a full-on minifig scale
Of the whole lunar lander.
lunar lander.
Yeah.
You build a great little moon platform for it to go on with some craters where the legs of the lander fit in. For those of you who may not be familiar what the lunar lander looks like, it kind of has these legs come out that are kind of spider-like, but there's only four of them, not
Yeah.
eight of them. And that's part of the base that has the legs that land on the moon, and then there's the top part where the astronauts were in, and that part can detach, and that's what flew back up to greet and team back up with the command module that was orbiting around the moon. So this is a complete version of that. As we said, this set released in 2019, 1,077 parts, and it came with two minifig astronauts. And
And this one is one that my dad has on his shelf, and it's a cool model. He's has a few of these ones that we'll talk about, and And this is also one along with the Saturn V that we actually have in the store right now.
Yep.
We have the Saturn V built, used, and that's behind the counter. And then we also Wesley was working today on certifying the lunar lander. So we have the box and the instructions for that one. And they only built bag one, and then the rest of the bags are sealed.
Yeah, I
So
don't
it's
understand.
it's almost a brand new set. So if you've been wanting to get either of these two sets, we have those in store, along with the next one on this list, which is the NASA Space Shuttle Discovery with the Hubble telescope build. This is one that we not only have in the store, but you have it on your shelf right over there, and I'm looking at it right now. And this is actually the first Lego space set that my dad got me and my three other siblings. We all chipped in and bought it for him for one of his birthdays a few years back.
Oh, fun.
And it's a really, really good looking space shuttle.
I am a super fan of this set. As I said earlier, like I grew up in the age of the space shuttle. So getting a large space shuttle, one of my white whales has been like collecting different Lego space shuttles
Yeah,
that Legos made throughout the year. A lot of them have not been with NASA's like approval.
like branding.
Right.
Yeah,
So they have like, either like pseudo classic space or they're like city space branded.
yeah.
In fact, sitting here in my office, there are 3 or 4 different
There's a
ones.
few space shuttles in
Yeah.
here.
But the Discovery, they did it perfectly. One, it also comes with the Hubble Space Telescope, which,
Which you can put inside of it
yeah,
and store it up. You can also display it with the Hubble telescope like clipped on, like hanging out of the inside, or you can put it on its own little stand next to it. And it's a great build, and it has a bunch of the silver chrome pieces that are all
yeah,
like over it. It looks so
yeah,
good.
it's got those metallic pieces.
Metallic, not chrome. Yay.
It's got some plastic solar panels
Yep.
that are gold and just look fantastic. Like they really could be unfurled.
Yep.
I am a big fan. I mentioned
It's a
earlier
great
that
set.
I drug my kids around the country to all the different
Air and Space
air and
Museums.
space museums, but part of the goal was to go see the 4 remaining space shuttles
Huh.
in person.
Yeah.
My favorite one, my favorite display that we went to was the Discovery,
Was the Discovery?
and
Have
that
you
was
seen it
yeah, and that was in Washington D.C.
at the Air and Space
At
Museum,
the
at the
Air and Space
Smithsonian?
Museum. Yes, it's the Smithsonian, but it's the one they have the one on
It's
Washington
not on the
Mall.
mall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the one that's out at Dulles Airport.
Because
And
I've been to the Air and Space Museum on the mall,
okay,
but not the other one.
the other one is the one that's super impressive to go to.
Oh, okay.
Uh, when we walked in and I saw the space shuttle for the
It's the
first
first
time,
thing you see.
like, well, when you walk in, like the first thing you see is an SR-71 that's flat on, its landing gear, but you kind of walk in and see it head on, and then right behind it, you see the space shuttle. So it's like two of my favorite, you know, flying machines
Oh,
right there. The scale of these in person are just they're just gigantic, and so getting a
I'm
build of my favorite shuttle that I visited was just super fun.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not know what an SR-71 was, but I just Googled it, and that thing is freaking epic.
Yeah,
That thing is
incredible
so
plane.
cool.
I would
It looks like it's out of a sci-fi movie.
Oh yeah, I would love to get a Lego build of an SR-71, but they don't do military, so I
Eh,
don't think we'll ever get that. But someday maybe. But I love the space shuttle. This model has some really cool stuff. As we said, you can open up the bay where the Hubble telescope can go in. You can lift off the top part and see like the little section where the astronauts would be inside the build. It's it's just I really love this model, and it's one of my favorite Lego sets that I have. It definitely, if we were tier ranking these, would be top tier for me.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones of these two.
It's super fun. And as we're looking at some of the other Lego sets, like that covers a lot of the major
Yeah,
NASA sets they've
there's
done.
one other rover that they did, another Technic rover.
Yes, which was very early on, a very early idea set. released in 2014. This was back when it was still called Kuso, and I wish I had this set. I really, really would love it. It's a much smaller rover than the first one, than Perseverance we talked about.
Oh,
It's
my apologies too. It's not a Technic set. It's a regular
no, it's
build set.
you're right.
Yeah.
It's a regular build because, but it has a cool little base plate and a little like some rock builds so that the wheels are you can kind of see how the suspension works so that all the wheels there are independent. And it also has its little drill and its little camera eye that comes up. Yeah, this is one I actually have never seen in person.
Me neither.
I would love to have it. It's
What did Cusco stand for?
I believe it may be a Japanese word because when
Huh.
before Lego Ideas became Lego Ideas, it started out as Kuso, which was like this
Interesting.
um, early way that Lego would allow
Fan design.
fan designs
Yeah.
and for sets to be built. So,
Okay. That's cool.
um, yeah, so back when this came out, that's how they did it. And so these sets weren't widely released like they are today.
Sure.
Like Lego Idea sets you can get at the Lego store and you know order online.
Yeah.
These earlier sets were much more limited.
Okay.
Where like if they may have been limited to maybe 5,000 sets, and much more like the Bricklink program is
Oh wow.
today.
Okay.
So yeah, so they're a lot harder to come by, in
Yeah. Sounds like it.
these early idea sets. Tend to have prices that reflect it.
Yeah.
But
That's all the sets that have NASA in the name.
yeah, there's
Now,
one other one
there's
I
one
think
other
we could
one.
talk about.
Yeah, this is the International Space Station set. This is another Lego Idea set. Set number, let's see, 21321. And this set was released in 2020 with 864 pieces. Now, this is the third space set that my dad has and that I've seen, and it's actually on display right outside of your office. I know that I keep mentioning the sets my dad has. That's because this is my main connection to this theme of sets, if I'm being honest. Other than seeing them in the store and just thinking that they're cool, I don't have any of my own. This space station one, based off of the size of the box and the picture on the box, it's way bigger in person than I thought it would be. Like when I saw it here in your living room, in your playroom, I was like, oh my gosh, that's like way bigger than I thought it would
Yeah.
be. Like it's a cool set. It has a little, almost like a poly bag size build for a space shuttle
Hmm.
that goes with it to give you a sense of the scale of the space station in comparison to what is a massive space shuttle and you would have a much better idea of how big an actual space shuttle is considering that you've seen a few of them. This is a really cool set. It has a bunch of printed tiles for the solar panels all over it, and it just looks like a space station. And you got two little astronaut micro figures as well, which is fun.
Plus, it's got some little like in addition to the space station, a few like of the little Dragon capsules that go to and from the space station
Oh, okay.
on the Falcon. So
Yeah,
you get some of the because obviously the space shuttle's not operational anymore. It's no longer going to the space station. So now the capsules have taken over that role. So it's kind of fun that they did include the shuttle, but the capsules, which are kind of more current.
and the capsules go from where to the space station?
Well, they would
On a rocket,
on a
and
rocket,
then they
like
bring it
a
off,
Falcon
and then
9
they
or
okay,
something. They
yeah,
go up, orbit around, dock with the station.
that's cool.
Astronauts can come back and forth, or sometimes they just have gear and supplies.
That's cool.
So this isn't the first International Space Station though they've done.
Yeah, I saw
They
that.
did one in 2003
Oh, there it is.
when the space station was a lot smaller than it is now, and when the shuttle was the way they got back and forth, other than the Russian Soyuz.
That's only
Yeah,
162
so
pieces.
yeah,
That's a tiny little set.
it's a small little set, but I just thought it should
Oh, for
be
sure.
noted that
Yeah, no.
this is there have been multiple space stations in the past, but again, not NASA branded, so we don't need to talk about all of them. But I feel like the current International Space Station model that you were discussing is close enough to NASA that
Yeah,
we can lump it in with the rest of them.
sure.
And yeah, that's the NASA sets.
Yeah, we figured we'd kind of mention these, like Chris said, because the Artemis came out this week, but also it is kind of like Lego's Year of Space, right? You see the space branding on a lots of different themes throughout the year, and this is kind of what seems to be, at least at this point, kind of the flagship space set for the
Yeah,
year, and it's a good one.
it is. I'm glad we had the opportunity to discuss all the NASA sets, but
Yeah,
this Artemis one, like the fact that they included the launch tower, which
and
we
the
didn't
base,
get with
and yeah,
the Saturn V, and like even when they did the shuttle Discovery, as much as I love it, we didn't get like the boosters and the rocket.
yeah,
Like we just got the launch vehicle, the orbiter. I love that for this one we really got the whole thing. The
yeah.
launch. We've got all the different boosters and the different components that the astronauts would ride in. It's really the complete SLS package.
It's pretty great.
So
Even for someone like me that doesn't really know anything about it, it just looks awesome too.
it
I have to
does.
say.
I'm excited to one day have it joining the office here with a lot of the other space shuttles and things that we have going on. So,
Yeah.
but I think that will bring our NASA discussion to a close. If
Yeah.
you all have a favorite NASA set, stop by the store and tell us.
Yeah. And
We
like we mentioned, this conversation kind of goes hand in hand with what's in the store conversation because we do have
Yeah, we have so
multiple
many
of
of these
these
right now,
in the store right now. So,
and they all look great. So if you want to come see what we were talking about, or maybe if you have that early rover that I've never seen,
there you go.
bring it in.
You could,
I want to see it.
you could come brag about it and make it a store
I
list.
would love to take a look at it. I want to thank everyone for joining us here this week. I hope everyone has a good week and say goodbye, Evan.
Yeah. Goodbye, Chris. Goodbye, everyone.